fishing friends, welcome to another episode. Out here in the garage to do some jig making. We haven't done any jig making for a minute. Now I've been throwing around this idea for a while, and I was talking to Rand Dizzle. He's like, yeah, you need to do it and we need to test it because it's summer in a lot of the lakes and ponds that we have around here. You get a ton of vegetation, so we're going to be making some of these. This is a do-it mold. As you can see, this is really dark and I don't know why. The Manic Mullet. So this is a swim bait head. You can see it's got those grooves right there that add friction, so when you put that swim bait on, it holds it pretty well. I've used one of the small ones. What size was that? It is really cool because it lists all the sizes, the weights and everything here. I did that smallest one, 3/16, and was trying some little 3-inch swim baits on it. Looked pretty dang cool, but what I want to do is make a bigger one. I've got some 4/0 hooks now finally for it, and I want to try making some swim jigs with this. Now I think it'll give it a cool different look because you'll see once I actually make some of these, the head I feel like is a perfect swim jig shake. So enough of me yapping, let's get this pointed over there and start making. This thing's already hot, got it warmed up. So for those of you new to the process of jig making, this is actually a super easy one to use. I got this one from Do It. I was lucky to go up to their factory. They are an Iowa company here. I love that, being able to support those guys. But this one's a super easy one to use because you don't have any other like weird inserts. Some of them need like, you know, wire keeper, you know, all the brush guard stuff, you know, weed guard deal. This doesn't require any of that, so it's a super easy one to use. Now, all I need is a hook, and I got some of the Victory hooks from Do It, some new hooks that they're carrying. So far, I've liked these in the ball-headed jigs. Let's see how they do in these. This is a 4/0 hook. As you can see, the mold has different sizes and different weights. I'm gonna be making this one so it shows you the weight and the hook size to use. So for the 3/8 here, it shows that we need to use a 4/0 hook. Gives you all the hook specifications and everything on here, so it makes it nice and easy. You can also just give them a call, they'll tell you what you need. But we're making the 3/8 ounce size, so all you do with this is put the hook in there. That's all we need. Make sure it shuts and clicks. Just like that. You want to make sure you hear that aluminum on aluminum. Yes, there we go. Looks much better. You can see the soft plastic keeper, those little ribs, all there looking perfect. Head and everything looks good. So after that, all we need to do is take my clippers. You can see the clippers that I'm using are a special kind. The back is flat. That way when I put it on here next to the jig head to actually cut off that sprue, that spot where I poured it, I cut it off like that and it is nice and even. I'm just going to take these, tamp that down to make sure there's no hard, sticky, pointy surface. That's it. That's all there is to it. Super easy process. These are fun. Now you can see these do have a recessed eye, so I could leave these as is. I'm going to leave some of them like this with just the silver lead look, and some of these I'm going to paint. So let me make a few more of these and then we'll come back. Okay, I did find one little thing that actually helps me get these out a little bit easier. How I said, you know, they're kind of hard to pull out. It's because of those ribs that hold the soft plastic on. If you'll notice, instead of just trying to take my my pliers and grab it right here and keep pulling out, if I just pull that and loosen it up a little bit, I can just grab the hook portion right down here on the bottom right there, and it comes right out. So grab at the top sprue and then just grab at the hook and it pops right out of there, baby. All right, now that we've got a few of these beautiful little guys all poured up, it is time to paint them. And I'll take you through that process and give you a couple tips I have learned along the way. Now, I am no master, but I have made mistakes, and hopefully I can help you avoid some of those beginner mistakes that I made. So let's get the hot air gun, heat gun set up here. That's what I'm going to use for mine. You can use a torch, other things. I think this is easy. I've got this for the airbrushing and stuff that I do. You just turn it on, and it's literally a hot air gun, basically a buffed up hair dryer. You can even use a hair dryer if you have one. Something to get the jig heads hot. Okay, so the paints I'm using are Pro-Tec paints, and everything that I've shown in the video, the mold, hooks, all that, I'll link everything in the description below to make it easy for you. Everything I've picked up is from the good folks over there at Do It, but I'm using their Pro-Tec paint, and this stuff is a powder, so when you look at it in here, it can get kind of like hard in there, so I always make sure I give it a nice good shake to make sure it's a real fine powdery that kind of moves around. Some guys will use, whoops, and I just spilled some there. Some guys will use a fluid bed for this where you put it in, there's air under it, kind of like a fish aerator that keeps it all nice and airy in there. But as long as you shake it, I've found that this has been working fine for me. So I'm going to start out with one of my favorite colors, good old root beer. I think we can make some cool looking swim jig heads with this. So turn the hot air gun on here. I use a pair of pliers as to not burn my fingers. Get that good and hot in there, and then in one quick drop, you can see it's silverish lead. just like that. Quick. Would help if I actually get in front of the camera there, Debo. You can see there. I want it to be a little bit darker, so sometimes on the first coat they're not as bright as I want. I'm gonna go in again with it, just like that, and oh yeah. Hit it with the heat gun just to give it a nice kind of glossy look. That is exactly what we're looking for right there. That is a beautiful root beer color if I've ever seen one. Look at that. Kind of that brownish, got some glitter in it. We'll get a closer up look at this when I actually go put the skirt on. Let's do a couple of those. I think we'll do a little bold bluegill next. Oh yeah, that color looks gnarly. Next, let's do one of my favorites, some candy purple. I like this one a lot. Oh yeah, look at that purple. Oh, that magic crop purple with the purple iridescence comes out looking sweet. Nothing too fancy here, little plain old white. I mean, come on, that looks sweet. All right, last step out here is to get all of these guys that are done drying loaded up in the microwave. So I'm just gonna hang them like this. However, one thing that I have been doing before loading everything in the microwave to get them all completely hardened is clearing the hook ice. You can see there, if you look at it right now, it looks like everything's good. You could tie the line in there no problem, right? Well, what I've noticed is if you leave a bunch of goop up here after it hardens, trying to pick that paint out is a pain. So I've got one of these little tools that clears the eye. I'm just gonna kind of run it around the front, take it around the back side here, on the other side, just like that. So as you can see there, now that hole is nice and clear. There's no paint, shouldn't sag or anything on there. That one's good to go. So I clear all those off. I know there's different things you can do. Some people say you can put like masking tape there. You can use like heat shrink tubing like before you dip it. That way you just take the tubing off and it's nice and clear. But I don't know, not a big deal to me. I just take that, break the paint off each one as I put it in and go. It's the next day, back out in the garage. Unfortunately, last night I had to do some fence stuff. We're putting up a privacy fence, so it's the next day, but these are done. Look at all those beautiful little painted jig heads. Those guys came out looking pretty good. All right, let's get the old station set up here. Okay, so I'm gonna walk you through the process of tying one of these up. Now, I tied one up last night. It's a little bit bigger, a little bit bulkier than I wanted. I've got my finesse jig skirt, exactly how many I need to use down and everything. This is a little bit new, but as you can see here, I need some more light. Hold on. So that's a look at what I made there. So this is essentially gonna be a swim jig without the brush keeper on it. Nice, small, compact profile. It's only a 4/0 hook, so it's not an extra long shank or anything. Pretty small, only about 2 inches from the line tie to the back of that hook, so not huge. But good compact profile. You can see I added some of the sparkly tinsely stuff in here. Like I said, got just a little bit fuller than I wanted to, but it's really neat. It came out looking like a really cool profile. I like the large eyes on it, just come together well. Now, like I said before, you can fish these just as is. You wouldn't have to put any sort of eyes on it. You could leave it just like that and fish it. Let me grab a swim bait. All right, that's what it looks like rigged up on there. I think that might be just a tad small. I think I would want a 5/0, but for the 3/8 ounce head, it's just set up for the 4/0 hook. Looks pretty good though. I think I could fish that without a problem. 6-cents whale looks pretty good on there. I need to put some eyes on it, and that guy's ready to go. So we're gonna set him aside. This is the 6-cents Divine. That is what a 3.2 inch paddle tail looks like on there. So about right in there. 3.5 inch I would say would probably be the best on this one, but there you go, a couple examples. So let's tie one of these up. I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, grab all my supplies here. I need a pair of wire cutters. I'm using some 22 gauge stainless steel wire. Of course my pliers so I can bend that wire around once I put it on. Pair of scissors to cut the skirts. Now you can go the easy route. There are a number of companies, Do It has some of these on their website that I'll link. These happen to be some from Dirty Jigs Tackle that I picked up a while ago. They sell pre-made skirts, so if you're new to the game and you just want to make some jig heads, you don't want to get into all the fancy skirt stuff, you can get some skirts just like this. What color is this? They call this color Warmouth, and you can see they've got the shorter end and the longer end. You're usually going to put it on like that with the longer end flapping over so it will look like this. You'd put it on, do that, flap it back over, and that's what you've got. So if you wanted to do that, slide that on here, run this straight up on top of it, and that's all there is to it. If you want to do just some simple jigs like that, you can do that and be completely done with it in no time. You can make your own jig heads, put your own eyes on. This is that bluegill flash color, I think it's called, but looks super cool, right? All right, I grabbed a few colors of skirts here just to kind of give you an idea of what this looks tying one of these on. Let's go with this. I think this is called Junebug Green Pumpkin. It's got some kind of Junebug purple in there mixed in with some green pumpkin. Okay, so I'm gonna bring part of the skirt so it kind of comes back down this way. I'm gonna get a larger portion this way. I'm gonna put one tab on top and one tab on bottom. So I'm only gonna use 2 tabs. This is gonna be pretty sparse, nothing too big and crazy, just a real simple tie right here. Now I'm gonna go with that. The other one here. I'm gonna cut off maybe, I don't know, 4 inches of this wire. I'm gonna run this up under and try and stay as close to the front of the head as I can like this. Let me zoom in for you. But just like that, I'm gonna cross these around. I'm gonna put one side around to the bottom, other side around to the bottom, and maybe a better view there. 1, 2, 3, 3 loops, 3 loops around there. That's exactly what I want. That holds it on. If you just do 1 loop and try twisting this on, there's not much surface area and the wire just cuts through all your skirting material and it all falls off. I'm gonna grab my pliers here. I'm gonna pull tight to make sure all those wires come down. Then I'm just gonna grab this and twist. Okay, I twist that until I get a good small coil like that so I can tell it's held nice and tight up against there. I'm gonna take my wire cutters and clip so there's maybe, I don't know, 3/16 of an inch of that left on there. Just like that, just a little tiny bit like that left on there. I'm gonna take the back of my cutters here, and I just take and bend that down so it's nice and flat there, so it's not anything that's gonna stick out and grab extra vegetation or anything. You can see on the end of these tabs, it has this little part where it's all stuck together. I'm gonna take my scissor, cut that, cut that. And these bottom ones, like I said, this is gonna be kind of a finesse cut. I might leave them just a tad longer. I'm gonna pull these together, cut it about like that. There we go. So that's what we get for the first one. Kind of a nice finesse looking swim jig. And it's not necessarily a swim jig because you don't have the weed guard. I suppose you could drill up into the top here and even experiment and try to do some of your own. But this is essentially a swim bait head with a little bit of, you know, some skirting material on it. So it gives it just a different look. You know, I'm gonna fish this around places I would like a regular swim jig, unless it gets real brushy, you know, a ton of weeds and stuff. You know, I can't fish it in there because obviously I'm gonna get snagged. So kind of the regular spots where I'd fish an open hooked swim bait, but again, just gives it a whole different look. All right, it's the next day again. I know it's like a 3-part deal. Now that I've got all these made, I'm gonna show you the eyes real quick. I'm gonna put a couple swim baits on so you can see what they look like all together, and then we'll wrap this up. Okay, so putting the eyes on. Eyes are really easy. All I did was take and put a little drop of super glue in that eye socket hole and then put the eyes on. These are some eyes from Do It. These are 7.5 millimeter. The eye sizes will come in millimeters when you buy them. So this is a 7.5 millimeter. Those work better when you've got paint that's a little bit thicker on, that little bit smaller size. Fits in there perfect. You can see this is that kind of finesse. Oops, move that one. These I just stuck in. Usually I put a drop of super glue, that way they don't move anywhere, but you can see what they look like in there. Really cool, different profile look to it. Now these are an 8 millimeter eye. I got these from a different spot. You can see they fit down in there as long as the paint's not too thick. If you get that paint too thick on the head, you're gonna wanna go down to that 7.5 millimeter. And that's what they'll look like in there with an 8 millimeter. Looks really good. And then if you leave it like this, if you don't put any paint in there, an 8 millimeter fits absolutely perfect inside there. Look at that. So that's a very natural color. This is one of those 3.5 inch shockwaves from missile baits I put on there. Look at that, like just a really cool, different look instead of running just your regular swim bait. Again, it's really like a swim jig profile. Really cool, really like how those turned out. I wanna take this out now and test it. Maybe that'll be the next video. Throw in some swim baits and these kind of swim jig looking deals on these heads and see if we can catch some fish. So that's gonna do it for me, fishing friends. Comment below and let me know what you wanna see me make next. I think I've got a couple other molds that I've not showed you, but do you wanna see some more stuff like this, kind of modifying some things, making jigs? What do you wanna see next? Comment below. Now, of course, I can't do a jig making video without giving some of these away. So comment below something about you like swim baits or swim jigs, something like that. All you have to do is comment below and I'm gonna pick a random winner. Throw in a handful of these, some that I've made, some that are just regular like that. Might even throw in some paddle tails for you so you can go out and actually fish them. Comment below. I appreciate you all a ton. Tonight's subscribe fishing friend is my guy, Ryan Foster. Ryan, thanks for watching, and thank you everybody else again for watching and supporting. It means a ton to me. I wouldn't be here without all of you, and I think YouTubers forget that a lot, right? That, you know, they have watching videos and they see the success go up, and I feel like, I don't know. All I want to say is I really do appreciate all of you watching. So that's it for me. Comment below. We'll do more making stuff. I don't know how else to end this. Stubby, what do you think about the new microphone cover I got on here? Hey, what do you think about this new microphone cover? What did you think this was? Did you think this was a rabbit? Where's the rabbits? Did you think that was a rabbit on here? Did you think that was a rabbit? It's just the microphone cover. Just a dead chinchilla. That's all it is.